Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, Sonic Yoda from SEGADriven.com, and welcome back to our Sonic Amateur Games Expo 2020 coverage. In this video we're taking a look at the latest demo of Sonic Transitions, which is developed by PM13. Now, we looked at this last year and I quite liked it. It's a sort of a Sonic SATM inspired fan game in that you play as Sonic and Sally, and their sprites are very much based on the way they look in the show. The stage itself is, very much based on sort of Knothole Village and the sort of forest outside of Robotropolis. And yeah, I really liked what it was doing. It was just a nice breath of fresh air, to be honest with you. I like the nostalgia for SATM, and I thought this was a nice playing game, and it really caught my attention. Unfortunately, there's not a lot to comment on with this year's demo because it's basically the same thing. Same two stages, very little in regards to changes from last year. The only things I noticed was that Sonic's jumping sprite when he's in a ball is now makes him look like a sort of buzzsaw blade, which is more in line with how he looks in the actual SATM show. There are special stages now, so there's these big rings hidden around the stages, and once you go into them, you use the shards that you collect from around the stage as sort of time in the special stage, and while you're there it's very much like the emerald hunting that you get in Sonic Adventure, in that you have to go and look for the emerald in the stage itself on the time that you have with the amount of shards that you've collected. Quite a nice idea, actually. But yeah, that's kind of it. There is a minor change to the homing attack. If you remember from last year's demo, the way Sonic does his homing attack is that when you hit enemies, it sort of freezes you in place and allows you to choose which direction you want to project yourself off the enemy. It doesn't do that anymore. You can now basically choose your direction very quickly, and you bounce off the enemies a lot faster. It doesn't kill the flow as much. So yeah, it works better than it did last year. But there's very little else for me to sort of comment on here. We've got the same two playable characters. You've got Sonic and Sally. Sally doesn't jump into a ball. You have to fire her gun to actually defeat enemies with her, otherwise she's open to attack. Yeah, same bosses, same stage layouts. There might have been some minor changes, but I didn't really notice them, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's a shame, really. I want to like this project quite a lot, to be honest with you, and I was hoping to see more stages, a little bit more refinement in this demo. But yeah, if you played last year's demo, there's very little here for you to come back for, unfortunately, which is a real shame. Links in the description if you want to try this, obviously, but I can't really recommend this year's demo, unfortunately. Real shame, because the game itself is great, don't get me wrong. It plays well, the momentum's great, it plays like 16-bit Sonic, with some minor twists, what with you having to collect shards instead of rings, and yeah, and you've got obviously the Sally as a playable character, but there's just not enough here to come back to it at the moment. If you played last year's demo, there's really no reason to come and play this demo. There's very little in the way of changes or improvements, and there's certainly not much new content, if any. So yeah, a real shame, to be honest with you. I wanted to be able to come and recommend this to everybody again, because I really liked last year's demo, but as I've mentioned, if you played last year's demo, then you've basically played this year's demo. A real shame. Oh, and trans rights are human rights.